This is going to be a big year for Xbox, and today I'm celebrating 20 years. 20 years of owning all four major consoles that Microsoft has released. And in today's video, I'm just going to be celebrating and sharing some of my happy memories with you from all four consoles. And really it's just been a great year. It seems like Microsoft has finally got some things together, and I think this is going to be a wonderful year for Xbox fans, people that have supported them over the years. You know, you're going to have your favorites. I'm going to share mine, and so let's jump right in. And so, I've been an Xbox fan since the original launch of the original console. I didn't get it at launch. I got it a little bit afterwards, but I was a huge fan. You know, starting off, my first online game playing on the original Xbox was Crimson Skies. Crimson Skies, just a great kind of like dogfighting, kind of taking something old, something new, and something different, and offering a great multiplayer and story experience. You know what's cool is that you can take your original game and pop it into a Series X, and it's just wonderful that you can play some of your original Xbox games. You know, but you can't talk about the original Xbox without talking about the original Halo. And Halo was such a groundbreaking title, especially for a console first-person shooter, both campaign, multiplayer, sound. I played that so much. Mostly played a lot of the original Halo campaign, a little bit of multiplayer, but really jumped into Halo 2, and that just blew my mind. You know, multiplayer, played that so much on Xbox Live, and really have some happy memories of playing on a large CRT television in my living room in my apartment back in the day in Redding, California, bringing some friends over and just enjoying that quite a bit. But really, when it came down to RPGs, one of my favorite Star Wars games of all time, and that's Knights of the Old Republic. This is a fantastic game, and bugs and all, really enjoyed playing this. And, recently started a new campaign, went back and started playing it again. And I can't believe the story and the content in this game is it's just stunning. I absolutely love this for a Star Wars game. Played this quite a bit. And another game that you can play on your Series X, which is kind of neat. It's backwards compatible. I moved to Washington in mid-2000s, and what's kind of cool is that I entered a contest. I got a Mountain Dew pop cap from my mother-in-law, and I entered it into an every10minutes.com contest, and I won an Xbox 360 with some launch titles. I was so excited. It's one of the biggest things I've ever won in a contest. One of the first games that I played on my Xbox 360 was Kameo Elements of Power, kind of a cool platformer. But the 360, I did a recent poll about what was your favorite Xbox console, and really a lot of people said the 360. Problems and all. I had my own problems with it and upgraded it a couple different times due to the red ring of death. But Kameo Elements of Power, and I got Perfect Dark Zero. That wasn't my favorite game, but over time, the 360 established itself as an amazing console with great content, great games, and those digital downloads started then. Really kind of evolved Microsoft into what it is today. I can't talk about playing 360 games. I have to admit, I played a lot of Call of Duty, the early Call of Duty games. This is my Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Collector's Edition, and I played the campaign and multiplayer a lot. Those first Call of Duty games, for me, played them quite a bit. Did eventually play a little bit of Halo 3. Some of the big games that I really played on the 360, I actually got to beta test Mass Effect at Microsoft headquarters a long time ago, but really enjoyed what they did with the original Mass Effect. And, some other games definitely were checking out on the 360 back in the day. I was playing Skyrim, and one of my favorite games actually on the console was Halo 4. Really got into Halo 4. This is my limited edition that I got back in the day. And, that was a fantastic Halo game. The multiplayer in that was awesome. Really enjoyed what they did with Halo 4. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. you know, I really was a big Star Wars fan, and there were several Star Wars games on the console, Force Unleashed 1 and 2, but even the Lego Star Wars game, absolute gem of a game to play with family. There's so much content in that game, and I still recommend it because I think it's a wonderful game. I'm really excited to see what they do with the Skywalker Saga, and that's a new Lego game coming out. But you know, it wasn't just the big releases that I like about the 360. They really started offering kind of bite-sized content. I'm a big arcade fan. I'm a big fan of kind of like pick up and play games. You know, I'm a fairly busy man, so delving into like these long games that have so much content, it's challenging sometimes. You know, I just don't have the time that I used to. But even then, back then when the 360 came out, I think of like Geometry Wars 2 comes to mind, Hydro Thunder Hurricane. Absolutely love that game. There was just lots of arcade content being offered, and it really just was an amazing library in time. You know, even though the hardware issues, I really like the controller, and over time, you know, I put countless hours into my 360 console. Eventually it died, and I replaced it with you know, the updated slim version of the 360. There was several different versions of it, but you know, still have a working one now. Never was a fan of the Kinect games, and we're going to talk about that on a separate video. But, you know, I think that was like the strength of the 360. And then the Xbox One came out, and I know at first they really were, you know, focused on that Kinect interface, and I waited about a year to get an Xbox One and got the Master Chief Collection bundle. And, you know, while the Master Chief Collection originally came out, it had some bugs and issues. They fixed all that, updated and offered an amazing amount of content on the Xbox One. Eventually, I did get a mid-tier upgrade, the Xbox One X. But, you know, some of the games that I played quite a bit on the console, just to name a few, have to do a shout out to Rare Replay. There's so much awesome, amazing content. This is one of the best compilations of games. It has a wide variety of different games going back to the ZX Spectrum, the Nintendo Entertainment System, N64. It's wonderful, and you know, it's some of Rare's best games, and I highly recommend it. It's fairly cheap to still get now. And so other games I played quite a bit. I have to say I played a ton of the Diablo 3. Now the Diablo 3 on the Xbox One, even though it started out on the 360, I have my original disc here. It's my original Diablo 3 that I got for the 360, but really the differences between the 360 version and this version are night and day. And there's so much content. The Eternal Collection, played a ton of that with a friend, couch co-op, played a lot of that. Played a ton, just over and over again. But yeah, beat that several times. And even though probably Diablo 2 is still my favorite game, I got a lot of usage out of that game and gameplay. So yes, other games I played, Jedi Fallen Order, I've talked about that on my channel. Even now, it's been updated for the Series S and X. And, you know, that is a wonderful game that I still think is one of the better Star Wars games, especially original stories. And so they did a good job with that. But then as time has moved on, I got lucky last year and got a Series X. I think the biggest challenge is still finding these, as they're still difficult to find. But the Series X, I think, is really going to come into play. I think it's really establishing itself as a next-gen console. And what I love is the games I talked about, you can still play almost all of these on your Series X. You know, it's kind of neat to take an old 360 or an Xbox disc, if it's compatible, and stick it into your new console and have it play. I think that's an awesome feature. But the big things with the Series X that I really like is it's coming out finally with some awesome, great games. So Forza 5 just came out on Game Pass as well, and I want to definitely check that out. I haven't played a ton of it, but that's definitely one that I want to sink my teeth into. And the big game coming out this year finally is Halo Infinite. And so multiplayer and campaign look great. I think the extra time did benefit the game, and the initial reports is that it's very solid. And so definitely Game Pass is something I've played more and more. There's several games that I definitely want to check out. I just recently updated my Skyrim, and that's a game I haven't played in a long time, and it looks fantastic with the extra content. And so going back and playing Skyrim, it's kind of crazy. It's 10 years old now. Oh my goodness. And there's so many games that are being offered, and I think Microsoft really is moving in the right direction. You're going to have your favorite game console from Microsoft. I know for me, I played probably the most of the 360, but I think the Series X is in the right direction. I do think it's better than the Xbox One. I didn't have a problem with the Xbox One. I think initially it had a confusing launch. I wasn't a fan of the Kinect bundle that it came with, and when they finally separated that and just offered and focused on the games, I think I was really satisfied and happy with that. So that's it. That's pretty much what I'm playing and enjoying on the Xbox Series X currently, and today I'm just celebrating, it's been 20 years since the original Xbox came out. I think November 15th is its official launch. But what was your favorite console? What was your favorite memory? What are the games that you played on Microsoft consoles? Comment below, as I would love to hear from you. And as always, thank you for coming to my channel and watching my videos. I have lots of varied content. I do everything from game reviews, talk videos such as this, and bad games and ranking videos. So thank you so much. You folks are wonderful and beautiful. Let's keep it positive. This is the Immortal John Hancock, and you have a good day.